Earlier, Minister Blair mentioned that he's building on the work of his predecessor, Minister Anand, and her suggestion was that we need to continue to build resources, especially in the area of personnel. So my concern is the discrepancy between numbers in an order paper question that we received back in April. So if we're talking numbers, based on the order paper question, we're about 8,000 personnel short for the regular force and 1,000 for the reserve force. But there's discrepancy because other numbers suggest that we're 16,000 personnel short with another 8,000 personnel short on the reserve side. So just looking through the numbers, are you able to clarify with us what the numbers are for the Canadian Army, the Royal Canadian Navy, the Royal Canadian Air Force, the Canadian Special Operation Forces Command, the Canadian Forces Intelligence Command? Because there's discrepancy, the numbers aren't adding up.
It's important to state that a guiding principle is truth has a date timestamp. And so what was true in one day will not necessarily be true the next day, especially with regarding numbers, personnel strengths. I can give you our numbers effective as of the 21st, actually as of the 31st of August for the Canadian Armed Forces. So the difference between our authorized strength and our total strength, the regular force, is 7,862.
Okay.
For the reserve force, it is 7,605. You add that up, it's just shy of 16,000 short in the total force. The important figure on the regular force side is the difference between our trained effective establishment and our trained effective strength. So those that we can put out the door to do the job. And right now that number is 10,489 as of the end of last month. And so those people are in the training system, but they're not ready for operations yet. And so this is something that we watch very closely. It speaks to the need to continue to bring people in. I can talk about some of the successes we've had and how we're cautiously optimistic at this point, if you wish.
Perhaps I'll lead right into the next question. Back in February, earlier this year, I posed a question outlining the need for the retention of CAF from highly technical domains such as cyberspace, including the addition of 120 new military intelligence positions and 180 new civilian intelligence positions. And I asked if this goal had been effectively achieved and what are the numbers in this particular domain, if you're familiar with them. So we were hoping to get some of those numbers circled back. So just wondered if you had those.
Mr. Chair, I don't have the exact numbers for those occupations, but those technical occupations are ones that we are very concerned about. They have highly marketable skills. There's a shortage across our country, and we see just the general labor shortage writ large in the country, especially skilled labor in those fields. It's hard to hold on to people. I am happy to report I got good news today. Our attrition rate overall is down to 7.1%. So back within historic norms. You know, for a while over the pandemic, we were up to 9.1, 9.2%, which was of concern. So this is, again, feeds into my narrative of being cautiously optimistic.
So changing gears here, the government has recently announced budget cuts to the DND. Given that discussion here today, we're talking personnel shortages are apparent, equipment shortages are more than clear and abundant. So how are the additional funding cuts going to impact the armed forces' ability to serve and protect Canadians?
Mr. Chair, there's no way that you can take almost $1 billion out of the defense budget and not have an impact. So this is something that we're wrestling with now. I had a very difficult session this afternoon with the commanders of the various services as we attempt to explain this to our people. Our people see the degrading, declining security situation around the world, and so trying to explain this to them is very difficult.